Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Amanda. So today's What's for Dinner video is all about pantry meals. I shopped my refrigerator, my freezer, and my pantry for these meals. I didn't make a special trip to the store, so I'm really excited to share these with you. These are super easy weeknight meals and very budget friendly as well. Plus I've got an extra special delicious dessert for you at the end too. I think you'll really like it. This video is also really special because it's in collaboration with my friend Valerie from The Harget Life. I'll have her channel linked below. Make sure you go and check her out, show her some love, and let her know I sent you over there. She does all kinds of delicious recipes too, so I think you would really love her channel. If you're coming over from Valerie's channel, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. I do all kinds of recipe videos, what's for dinners. It's definitely all about the food here. I'd love to have you as part of my YouTube family, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you get notified every time I post a new video. I'm always planning lots of yummy things for y'all. So I hope you're excited to get into this video. Give me a thumbs up if you are. But let's go ahead and get into these recipes. Let's go ahead and get started with our easy homemade pepperoni pizza. So this was the first time I ever made actual from scratch homemade pizza, like with yeast dough and everything. Now in this bowl I've got some warm water, some sugar. I'm going to be adding in some yeast, and we're just going to stir that together and let that sit for 5 minutes, and it's going to get really foamy and be all good to go. Now to our yeast mixture, we're going to be adding in our flour and get that all in there and let that get incorporated. Then we'll add in our seasonings. I want to put some Italian seasoning in here, a little bit of garlic, salt, and then we're also add in some olive oil as well. So this was really fun to try this for the first time. It turned out so good. I was really super impressed with it. This was a quick recipe. You didn't have to let it rise for like a long time after, and that really kind of made it quicker than you could even go get like delivery or go get takeout or anything like that. So I found that pretty impressive, and my kids absolutely love this recipe, so it was just so fun to try it. But basically you're just going to let this combine until it starts pulling away from the sides of the bowl. The bowl is going to be kind of clean on the sides, and you're going to let it knead that for about 5 minutes. And then we're going to go ahead and stop it and get it ready to put on our floured surface. So I've just used a little plastic tray I've got here, and I'm just going to knead a little bit there, just getting it kind of into a, kind of a round shape. And then that way we can get it all rolled out and try to maintain a circle as best as we can. Now while I'm doing this, my oven is preheating with my stone. I have a Pampered Chef stone in the oven that I'm already letting it get hot, and I'm just going to get this dough shaped out onto parchment paper so that I can just lift the parchment paper onto the stone, and that worked out really well because I feel like having that really hot surface is good to put that dough on. Now I did go from doing my hands to switching to this Pampered Chef tool that I have, and it worked really well. It really helped me keep that circle shape in there, and so I liked that a lot. I'll probably use that more often than my hands. And I'm just getting some pizza sauce on here. Just put as much or as little as you like. And next time I think I might try to maybe put something on the crust, maybe after it's done, or something like some, garlic butter, maybe a little Parmesan, something like that. And so we can have some nice flavor to the crust too, because I think there's just so many things obviously you can do with, stuff like this. And now we're ready for our toppings. We're just doing pepperoni, so I'm just putting the cheese down first. I love that Tillamook cheese. Let me know down in the comments if you tried it. I swear it just seems like it's better, tastes better. So when it goes like buy one, get one free, I try to stock up a little on it as best I can anyways. And we're just going to get our pepperonis on here. Obviously, you could do all kinds of toppings. I can't wait to try more things. I also have another pizza recipe I want to try where you do let it rise for a little while. I want to see what the texture differences are. I'm really liking making homemade bread items. It's so fun. But we're going to just bake that. I think I baked this actually at 420, even though the directions said 400. I wanted to bake it a little hotter, and just until it's good and done. And man, this was really tasty. You're going to get to see all this cheesy goodness. This was really good. I really recommend this recipe. It was so quick and easy. It was just really hard to believe how easy it was. Now let's get into our cheesy chicken and black bean enchiladas with Mexican rice. This is literally one of my kids' favorite meals ever. They love enchiladas, and you can do them so many different ways. So I'm making my cheesy mixture. I've got some cream cheese in there and some green chilies that I drained, along with about a cup of Mexican blend shredded cheddar or shredded cheese. Now, I did heat my cream cheese just a little in the microwave, just for a few seconds to get it softened. That way it would blend really easily. And once we get that all blended together, I decided to go ahead and season this mixture because my chicken was not seasoned like with Mexican seasonings. It was more just kind of plain. It was just cooked chicken I had on hand. So I'm adding some garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, and chili powder to this. And I didn't really measure that. I just kind of, you know, did it by eye, and I think that you can't really, as long as you don't get too much, you can't really go wrong with that. You just, you know, add a little of those to flavor it up a little more. But once we get this combined, we're going to go ahead and kind of get started building our enchiladas. But I'm actually going to build my son's first. He doesn't like cheese on his enchiladas, which I'm like, really? Like, that is like such a good part of enchiladas, but he doesn't like it. So he just wanted some enchiladas that was just enchilada sauce, chicken, and the tortillas. And that's what I did for him. I'm just using corn tortillas. And y'all, these tortillas were like so messed up. I don't know what was wrong with them. But they had like, all of them had like a crack in them. So it was so hard to keep these together. But, you know, when you're laying them in a dish like this and you're covering them with sauce, it really isn't that noticeable. It was more so just hard to roll them up a little more so than usual. So, and you can always like fry tortillas a little if you want to before you do enchiladas. I've done that once and it was really good. It is an extra step, and I don't feel like it's just necessary. So a lot of times, especially when I'm making so many like this, I just, you know, heat them in the microwave for a few seconds so they're nice and pliable, and then I kind of roll them up and get them done. So now these are the enchiladas. They're going to have the cheese in them. So we're going to just put a little sauce down first. That just helps it not to stick. And we're going to take our mixture and spread that on our tortillas first, and then add some black beans and some chicken. And since we have that cheesy mixture in there and we're adding the beans too, it kind of helps stretch the chicken out a little further, so you can actually make more of these or just use less chicken, or however, you know, depends on how you want to do it. But I feel like that can be kind of like a money saver and help stretch that chicken out a little bit too, so that's a good idea with that. Or if you wanted to, you could even make these meatless and just do bean and the cheese mixture, and they would still be amazing that way too. So that's kind of another idea for you. But we're just going to get all these assembled in here, and then we're going to go ahead and top them with our enchilada sauce. I just make sure that all the tortilla is kind of covered with enchilada sauce. And then we're going to put both these in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes or so, just until they're nice and bubbly and everything's warmed through. We're also going to top these with a little additional shredded cheese on top, probably about a cup close to on the top. Now, I will say that sometimes I cover these with foil, sometimes I don't. I kind of go back and forth on that. Just keep in mind if you don't cover them with foil, that you may get, you know, a little more crispy type bits there, and that's fine with us, but because I didn't cover them with foil this time. But if you would rather them be more of a softer texture, definitely make sure you cover them with foil while they bake, and then they'll turn out all nice and soft too. So we like it either way, so I kind of vary it each time I make them. And next we're going to go ahead and get started on our Mexican rice. It's a super easy recipe. We're just going to put some oil in our pan and get that heated. And then we're going to add our rice. Just make sure you stir the rice around to get it all coated with that oil. We're just going to work on toasting the rice for a few minutes. You're going to start seeing it turn a little golden brown. You don't have to take this super far. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I, you know, do a little less. And then sometimes if I have a little more time, I do more. So just so you can start kind of smelling that toasty smell, and you'll know that it's good to go. And we're going to go ahead and add in our seasonings that I added in there, and our chicken broth, and then also a can of tomato sauce. And I'll have this recipe linked below. I'll have all the recipes either written out or linked below. That way you can find them easily. They'll be in the description box. And basically, once this comes to a boil, we're going to just cover it and let it cook for 20 minutes on low. So make sure you do turn it down once it comes to that boil, and it'll just cook while our enchiladas cook, and that's really handy. So you can pretty much have them both done at the same time. So now our enchiladas are finished. They're out of the oven, and we're going to have our rice finished as well. So I did make a little guacamole on the side to go with this. I didn't film that, but it was just the avocado, a little bit of lime juice, and a little bit of garlic salt. And I just kind of do it to taste and everything. I never measure anything. But I feel like, you know, guacamole is always delicious with any kind of Mexican food. And I topped my enchiladas with some sour cream and a few black olives. This was such a good dinner. It's just so easy and so delicious, and great if you're craving Mexican food. Now we're going to go ahead and get started on our homemade alphabet vegetable soup. I'm going to go ahead and cut up some onions and potatoes, and while I do that, I want to tell you a little bit about why I picked this recipe. First of all, it's been really cold here, and I really want to soup again. I don't know if y'all saw my last What's for Dinner that had the soups. I'll have it linked below as well, but oh my goodness, like it's just soup time of year, you know. But I love Campbell's beefy vegetable soup, or I think it's called something like that. I don't know. That and a grilled cheese is like one of my favorite things. It's just like comfort food from when I was a kid. And so I thought this might be really close to it, and I finally found like the little alphabet pasta, and so I was excited to try this. So we're going to go ahead and saute up our onions and a little bit of garlic. We're going to get our onions softened first before we add that garlic, and then add in our spices. Then we're going to add in 8 cups of beef broth. You could also use, you know, vegetable broth, chicken broth, whatever you'd like to use there. And then we're going to go ahead and add in our vegetables. Now for me, I've got to have the canned vegetables to make it more like Campbell's. So I used just the canned, no salt added mixed vegetables. We had a can of diced tomatoes that went in there with the liquid, so don't drain it or anything. And then we're going to also add in some potatoes that we diced earlier. I did about 2. It said 1 medium, but mine were kind of small, so I went ahead and did 2. And then I've got some tomato paste. Now the one change I think I will make is probably do a little less tomato paste next time. I did feel like it was a little strong for me, but I think that's just personal preference. Everybody kind of likes something different. And we're also going to go ahead and add in our bay leaf. Now once it comes to a boil, it said to add in the pasta then, but I was afraid it would get too like overdone. So what I did was go ahead and cook it for 20 minutes, then add in the pasta and let it cook for an additional about 10 minutes. And that's the alphabet pasta I used. I think I actually ordered it from Target online, I'm pretty sure. I couldn't like find it in any of the stores locally. So the Target came through online for me on that one. I wish we had one here. That would be nice, but we don't. So I've just added that to that, and it's just going to cook a little longer. And as soon as that pasta cooks, then it's going to be done. It'll take, like I said, about 10 minutes. And here it is all ready, and just make sure you fish out that bay leaf, and then it'll be ready to serve up. I just served this with some grilled cheeses, which like I said, that to me, that's like a must. It's just with vegetable soup like that. And this was so good. Like I said, I'll probably cut back that tomato paste, but other than that, I really, really love this soup. I thought it was very good. Definitely some nice comfort food. And y'all, all these meals have been pantry meals. Everything in this video, I did not make a special trip to the store for. So if you're looking for things that you probably may have on hand, these are definitely the recipes for that. But all of them are so good. And now we're going to get started on dessert. So I've got a homemade strawberry cobbler. Y'all, this was so good. So we're just going to hull our strawberries. Basically, I've got this little tool that kind of pulls that, you know, center out. And it said not to cut the tops off, to do it this way instead. I'm sure it'd really be fine if you wanted to just cut the tops off too. I don't really see it'd be much difference, but you probably lose a little more of the strawberry when you do that. And then we're going to have each strawberry and set all that to the side, and we're going to get started on our batter. Now the batter really reminds me of the really easy cobbler. I think sometimes it's called like a cup of cobbler, or I don't know, something like that, because it's like a cup of this, a cup of that. And this is kind of like that. I feel like it was super easy. So I've got some flour going in there. We're also going to add in some sugar, some baking powder, just a little bit of salt. I usually half the salt or more on some of these recipes, y'all. So you can follow the recipe if you want, but with me watching my salt, I usually try to reduce that down where I can. And I'm just going to go ahead and get this mixed together, and then we're going to add in our milk and get that mixed in, and then we're going to drizzle in our melted butter. I've only had strawberry cobbler once before, and it was like a frozen one, and I'll be honest, I didn't care for it too much. But this looked so good in the picture, and I had some strawberries that were kind of like getting a little towards, you know, needing to be used up, let's say. And I thought, I bet this would be fantastic because it looked so good. And I was right. It was really delicious. This was completely different than that frozen one I tried that time. Even though you're cooking the strawberries, so yes, they do get kind of mushy and stuff, obviously, but they tasted so fresh still because they were, you know, fresh strawberries. It was just so different than that. But we greased our cast iron pan with some butter, and then we poured our batter in there. Now we're adding some cornstarch, some sugar and some lemon juice to our berries, and we're just going to go ahead and kind of mix those together. And then we're going to go ahead and layer them on top. It said to kind of try to make them even, so I made sure to try to do that. I did have just a little under the amount of strawberries that I think it was 2 pounds that the recipe called for. I did have a little less than that. It does look like once these all get in the pan, it's like, wow, that pan's like really full of strawberries. But definitely, you know, the full 2 pounds would be delicious in this too, because that batter kind of rises up over the strawberries for the most part. And it's, you know, like a great combination of them. So definitely use the full amount if you have that. But if you don't, then, you know, this was still fantastic the way it was. So, and then we're going to bake this in a 350-degree oven for about 45 minutes. Once it's been in there 45 minutes, we're going to sprinkle it with some turbinado sugar and put it in there for another 10 to 15 minutes. Now, they did mention about putting a pan under that in the oven with some foil on it, just in case you had any spillover or anything like that. So I did that, and I didn't have anything come out of my pan, so I was really glad for that. But this sugar added so much like neat texture on the top. I love that crunch from it. You could even broil it for just a minute if you wanted to. I did not, but I'm sure you could do that. Just watch it very closely, because man, I tell you, stuff will burn really quickly on a broil setting. But this was so very good, and we served it with ice cream, and we just really enjoyed this. It was so easy too. I really recommend it. It was delicious, and I think you could use other berries too and do different combinations, and that would be really fun too. So let me know down in the comments below if you have had different kinds of cobbler, and if you have, what's your favorite cobbler. I think peach cobbler is probably my absolute favorite, and I think this would be fun to try with that too, like when peaches are in season. So I've got some ideas to try other stuff. But thank y'all so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, I'd appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out Valerie's channel. I know she's going to have something delicious just waiting for you. I'll have her channel linked below in the description box. I hope you have a blessed day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one.